Alex stepped carefully across the icy terrain, the soles of his boots crunching through the thin layer of frost that covered the alien planet. The sky above was a strange mix of violet and gold, with twin suns casting long shadows across the jagged crystalline buildings that rose like frozen spires from the ground. It was silent, too silent, except for the occasional hum of energy drifting from the distant city. He had landed here as part of a human exploration team, but now he was alone. His teammates were far behind, busy examining geological samples, while he had been drawn to the heart of the abandoned city. There was something about it, a strange elegance that seemed alive, almost as if it were watching him. Alex adjusted his gloves and took a deep breath, marveling at the way the crystalline structures reflected light. Each surface was sharp, perfectly smooth, and glowing faintly from within. It was unlike anything he had ever seen. The city was enormous, stretching as far as his eyes could see, with bridges made of light and towers that defied gravity. He felt a mixture of awe and unease. Despite the beauty, there was a weight to the place, a sense of history and authority that pressed against him. As he moved deeper, he saw movement. A figure stepped from the shadow of a massive spire. She was tall, almost statuesque, with skin that shimmered like polished metal and eyes that burned with intelligence and intensity. She wore an elegant suit of armor, intricate and alien, yet it radiated power and control. She looked at him with a piercing gaze, and Alex felt an unexpected shiver. "You dare look at me?" she asked. Her voice was calm, measured, but there was an edge to it like a challenge. Alex paused, considering his words carefully. In her culture, he sensed that disrespect could be dangerous, but fear would not help him here. He smiled, a calm, easy smile that he hoped conveyed confidence without arrogance. "Only because you're beautiful," he said. For a moment, the world seemed to hold its breath. The alien woman blinked, surprised, perhaps even confused by his response. No human had spoken to her like that before. Her expression softened just slightly, curiosity flickering in her intense gaze. Alex knew that this was his only chance to show that humans were not merely weak outsiders. "I am Alex," he continued, lowering his voice, careful not to overstep. "I come in peace from the planet Earth. I wish only to observe and learn about your people." The woman studied him for a long moment, her eyes narrowing slightly as if weighing the truth of his words. "I am Lyria," she finally said. "You are bold, human, or perhaps foolish. Few dare speak to me in this way and live." Alex shrugged, trying to keep the mood light despite the tension. "I like to take risks," he said. "It makes life more interesting." Lyria's lips curved in the faintest hint of a smile. "Interesting, you say? Perhaps you will survive longer than I expect." Without another word, she gestured, and Alex followed her through a narrow passage that twisted between towering crystalline walls. He was careful to watch every detail, the way the energy field shimmered, the subtle markings etched into the walls, and the faint hum that resonated through the ground. It was clear that this place was alive in ways he could not yet understand. As they walked, Lyria began speaking, her voice low and precise. "You humans are unpredictable. You act on emotion, yet you possess courage in ways my people do not always understand. It is unusual." Alex nodded, his curiosity growing. "We have flaws, yes, but we also have strengths. Sometimes our strengths come from the very flaws others see." Lyria regarded him silently, then turned sharply and led him into a vast chamber. The room was enormous, with a high vaulted ceiling that seemed to vanish into darkness above. Strange devices lined the walls, pulsing faintly with energy. In the center was a large platform, and from it radiated a soft light that bathed the room in a calming glow. "You will remain here for now," Lyria said, her tone commanding yet not cruel. "You may observe, but you must not interfere. My people are wary of outsiders, and you will be watched." Alex nodded again, understanding the unspoken warning. He was an intruder in a civilization far older and more advanced than his own, yet he felt no fear, only fascination. "I understand. I promise to respect your rules." Lyria studied him for a moment longer, then turned and left without another word. Alex watched her go, impressed by her grace and presence. She was formidable, but she was not cruel. That small observation gave him hope. Hours passed as Alex explored the chamber from a safe distance. The technology was unlike anything he had ever seen. Machines that seemed to think for themselves, holographic displays that reacted to his presence, and devices that emitted soft pulses of energy in response to his movements. He took careful notes, both in his journal and in the digital recorder he carried. Every detail mattered. He knew that human ingenuity could only benefit from studying a civilization like this. Eventually, he heard footsteps approaching. Lyria returned, accompanied by two other aliens, both equally tall and imposing. They spoke briefly in a language he could not understand, then turned to him. Lyria's voice rang out clearly in a language he could understand. "Observe, human. Learn, but do not interfere. You will be tested soon." Alex's heart quickened. "Tested?" he asked. "Yes," Lyria replied. "To see if your courage and intelligence are worthy of our attention. We do not take outsiders lightly." The next hours became a blur of challenges. Lyria guided him through simulations designed to test his problem-solving skills, his ability to remain calm under pressure, and his capacity to understand alien technology. Each task was more difficult than the last, but Alex relied on his creativity and intuition. He noticed patterns that the aliens overlooked, thought of solutions they dismissed as impossible, and slowly, he began earning the subtle nods of approval from Lyria and her companions. During a brief pause, Alex took a moment to speak to Lyria alone. "I have to ask," he said, "why me? Why not send someone else? Surely there are others more prepared than a human." Lyria regarded him thoughtfully. "It is precisely because you are human that you intrigue me. You see possibilities where others see limits. You act when others hesitate. Your courage is not the courage of my people, it is different. Unpredictable, yes, but valuable." Alex smiled, understanding the rare compliment. "Then I hope I can live up to your expectations." "You already are," Lyria said softly, then quickly regained her composure. "But the true test comes soon. You must be ready." As night fell on the frozen city, the twin suns dipping below the jagged horizon, Alex felt a mix of excitement and apprehension. He was far from home, in a place unlike anything he had ever imagined, facing a civilization that could crush him with ease. Yet he felt alive in a way he never had before. Every step, every observation, every interaction with Lyria was a lesson, not just in alien culture, but in the possibilities of what a human could achieve. Hours later, Alex stood alone on a balcony that overlooked the city. The crystalline towers sparkled like stars under the alien sky, and he felt a strange connection to the place. He thought of Lyria and the subtle glimmers of curiosity and respect she had shown him. He realized that this was only the beginning. If he could prove himself, if he could navigate the tests and challenges ahead, humans might earn more than respect. They might earn a place in the galaxy's story. He smiled to himself, feeling a quiet determination. He would not fail. Not here, not now. Not when the chance to show the strength of humanity had presented itself in the form of a beautiful, formidable alien named Lyria. The night deepened, and the city hummed softly, alive in ways Alex could not yet comprehend. Somewhere in the distance, he felt the first stirrings of a future full of challenges, discoveries, and bonds that could change the course of both human and alien history. And he knew, deep down, that the moment he had looked into Lyria's eyes and smiled, a small ripple had begun, a ripple that could grow into something far greater than either of them imagined. The next morning, the crystalline city seemed to glow with a strange energy. Alex awoke in the chamber where Lyria had left him. the walls pulsing faintly as though the city itself were aware of his presence. The cold air stung his lungs, but he felt awake, alive, and eager. Today, he knew, would be different. Lyria had promised a test, and though he did not yet know what it would be, he was ready. Before he could prepare further, the doors of the chamber opened, and Lyria appeared, her armor catching the morning light, making her look like she was carved from the crystals themselves. Behind her, two figures followed, warriors, silent and imposing. They did not speak. Their presence alone was enough to remind Alex of the stakes he faced. "You are ready," Lyria said, her voice calm but firm. "Today you will face the first true test. Observe carefully, think clearly, and act decisively. Your success will not be measured by strength but by ingenuity and courage." Alex nodded. "I understand." Lyria led him to a vast arena. The walls shimmered with energy, and the floor beneath their feet was smooth and reflective. In the center floated a series of floating platforms, suspended in midair by some invisible force. At first glance, it looked impossible to cross, yet there were markings along the platforms, faint symbols that pulsed when Alex stepped near them. "This is the Bridge of Insight," Lyria explained. "Many have failed before you. Few can reach the other side without faltering. The path is not only physical, it tests your mind." Alex stepped forward cautiously. He studied the symbols, noticing patterns that seemed almost musical in nature. When he touched one, the platform shifted slightly. It took him a moment, but he realized that he needed to activate the platforms in a specific order, following the rhythm of the symbols. With a deep breath, he began. Step by step, he advanced, careful to match his movements with the pulsing light. Halfway across, a section of the platform sank unexpectedly, and he almost lost his balance. He caught himself just in time, thinking quickly to adjust his weight and timing. The aliens watching were silent, their faces unreadable, but Alex felt their attention like a pressure on his shoulders. Finally, with a final leap, he reached the other side. The platforms shifted behind him, then settled back into place as if accepting his success. Lyria's eyes widened slightly, and for a moment she allowed herself a flicker of admiration. "You are more perceptive than I expected," she said. "Few can read the patterns so quickly." Alex smiled, trying not to let his adrenaline show too much. "Sometimes it helps to look for music in everything," he said lightly. "Even in symbols." Lyria said nothing, but her expression suggested that she understood. She motioned for him to follow her into another chamber, this one filled with strange devices. The walls were covered in holographic screens displaying alien scripts, diagrams, and flowing energy currents. "This is the Hall of Knowledge," Lyria explained. "Here, you will face puzzles that test understanding, not speed. Many believe strength or intelligence alone is enough, but insight requires more." Alex nodded, scanning the room. He noticed that the devices seemed to react to his presence, shifting slightly as he approached. One in particular, a cube hovering in the air, covered in glowing symbols, caught his attention. As he reached out, the cube rotated, showing new patterns with each turn. He realized that this puzzle was not about memorization. It required intuition and empathy. He touched the cube lightly, letting his mind consider the shapes not as logic but as motion, as if they were part of a dance. Slowly, he began to manipulate the cube, moving the symbols in ways that felt almost instinctive. Minutes passed, and the cube began to glow brighter. With a final adjustment, it emitted a soft hum and projected a holographic map of the city, highlighting paths, energy sources, and hidden chambers. Alex had succeeded. Lyria's gaze softened, though she remained formal. "You do not think as humans often do. You see the connections that others miss. That is valuable." Alex allowed himself a small smile. "Thank you. I'm just trying to understand." Lyria led him to a balcony overlooking the city once more. "Understanding is only the first step. The real test comes when danger arrives. You must be prepared to act, not just observe." Alex looked out at the vast city below. Even from this height, he could sense its complexity, the flow of energy, and the silent presence of its inhabitants. It was awe-inspiring, but he did not feel small. Instead, he felt a growing confidence in human potential. Later, Lyria brought him to a training chamber, larger and more intimidating than the previous arenas. The floor was divided into a grid of glowing panels, and drones hovered silently in the air. "This is the trial of action," she said. "Here, your decisions must be quick and precise. You will face scenarios that require both courage and creativity." The first trial began immediately. Drones moved in unpredictable patterns, some carrying simulated energy cores. Alex had to intercept the cores without triggering alarms. At first he struggled, nearly tripping over a shifting platform, but then he remembered the lessons from the Bridge of Insight. Observe the patterns, trust your instincts, and act decisively. Using his intuition, Alex moved with the drones, dodging, redirecting, and manipulating the platforms. When a drone zipped toward him at high speed, he jumped, caught it midair, and redirected its energy harmlessly into a receptacle. Each success built his confidence, and even the previously silent observers allowed themselves small gestures of acknowledgement. After hours of training, Alex collapsed on a platform, exhausted but exhilarated. Lyria approached, her expression unreadable. "You have done well." But the final part of today's test is not just about skill, it is about judgment. She led him to a chamber resembling a control center. Holographic screens displayed scenarios from around the city, simulated emergencies, energy fluctuations, and potential conflicts between different alien factions. Here, you must decide which actions to take, whom to trust, and how to allocate resources. One wrong decision could cause disaster. Think carefully. Alex studied the displays, analyzing each scenario. One simulation showed a power core on the verge of overload, threatening to collapse a portion of the city. Another showed a faction of aliens preparing for conflict, unaware of the impending danger. Alex realized that he had to prioritize, choosing which threats to address first. He acted decisively, sending drones to stabilize the energy core while redirecting the attention of the faction to avoid unnecessary conflict. The simulations responded positively, showing that his choices were effective. Lyria watched closely, her expression softening with approval. "You have demonstrated courage, insight, and judgment," she said. "These are not qualities that come easily, even to the most advanced among us. You are remarkable human." Alex smiled, feeling a sense of accomplishment. "Thank you. I've learned from watching and thinking, and from listening to you." For a moment, Lyria looked at him differently, as if seeing not just a human but a potential ally, someone capable of understanding and contributing to their civilization in ways few outsiders could. "Perhaps," she said softly, "your presence here is not a mistake. Perhaps humans have a role yet to play in this world." The sun began to set, casting long shadows across the crystalline towers. Alex stood beside Lyria on the balcony, looking out at the city below. He had faced the tests, demonstrated his worth, and earned a measure of respect from a civilization far beyond human technology. Yet he knew this was only the beginning. Danger still lingered, unseen threats waiting beyond the horizon. The rogue factions Lyria had mentioned would not remain idle, and the city's fragile balance could be disrupted at any moment. But Alex felt ready. He had proven that human courage, creativity, and judgment could hold their own even in the face of overwhelming alien sophistication. As night fell, the city glowed like a constellation of crystals under the twin moons. Alex felt a quiet determination rise within him. He would continue to learn, to observe, and to act, and he would do so not merely as a human visitor, but as a representative of his species, capable of standing alongside these alien beings as an equal in courage, intellect, and heart. Lyria turned to him, her eyes reflecting the soft glow of the city. Tomorrow, she said, you will face the true test. It is not simulations or puzzles, it is real. Are you ready, Alex? Alex met her gaze steadily. I am ready, she nodded, a faint smile crossing her features. Very well. Rest tonight, human. Tomorrow, we see what you are truly capable of. As Alex prepared for the night, he reflected on the day's events. He had faced challenges that would have daunted even the bravest humans. He had adapted, succeeded, and earned the trust of one of the most powerful beings on this planet. And through it all, he had done it by being himself, by trusting his instincts, valuing his creativity, and embracing the unique qualities that made him human. Tomorrow would bring the ultimate test, but tonight he allowed himself a moment of quiet pride. He had shown that humanity had more to offer than strength or technology. Humanity had courage, insight, and heart. And in a galaxy filled with wonders and dangers, those qualities might prove to be the most powerful of all. The morning air on the crystalline planet was sharp and cold, carrying a faint hum from the energy fields that crisscrossed the city. Alex rose early, feeling a mix of anticipation and tension. Today, Lyria had promised, he would face the ultimate test, the one that would determine not just his own fate, but whether humans could be trusted as allies by a civilization far beyond their understanding. When he arrived at the training chamber, Lyria was waiting. Her expression was calm, but her eyes held a subtle intensity that made it clear the stakes were high. Behind her, a group of elite warriors stood in perfect formation, their armor gleaming in the morning light. Alex knew that today would be different. This was no simulation, no puzzle, no controlled trial. This was real. The rogue faction we have discussed is moving, Lyria said. They seek to seize control of the city's energy core. You will not fight them with brute force alone. You will need to think, adapt, and act with courage. Failure is not acceptable, Alex nodded. I understand. I will do my best. Lyria studied him for a long moment, then finally said, Good. Follow my lead, but remember, your strength is not in weapons, but in your mind and your humanity. They moved quickly through the city, navigating elevated platforms and corridors of glowing crystal. From above, Alex could see the rogue faction approaching, their ships glinting with hostile energy. They were heavily armed, far more numerous than Lyria's small contingent. It seemed impossible that they could succeed against such odds, but Alex remembered her words. This was a test of ingenuity, courage, and human spirit. As they reached the energy core chamber, the rogue faction launched the first strike. Drones swarmed the perimeter, shooting beams of energy at the defenses. Lyria's warriors responded with precise movements, intercepting the drones with shields and countermeasures. Alex watched carefully, analyzing the patterns of attack. He realized that the drones followed predictable sequences, but the sequence changed if someone interfered in unexpected ways. An idea struck him. Lyria, he called, let me try something. I can redirect their drones using the core's energy flow. Lyria regarded him silently for a moment. Then, without a word, she nodded. Alex moved toward the control panel, his fingers flying over the alien interface. He had observed its workings during his tests, and now he had to act quickly. By rerouting the energy pulses, he created an interference pattern that confused the attacking drones. They collided with each other and tumbled harmlessly to the ground. Lyria's eyes widened. Impressive. Very well, continue. The rogue faction adjusted, sending a second wave, this time more aggressive, targeting the chamber directly. Alex realized that a direct confrontation would be impossible. He needed a solution that combined strategy and quick thinking. He noticed a series of energy conduits running along the walls, channels that could amplify the energy from the core if used correctly. Alex shouted to Lyria's warriors, directing them to positions along the conduits. Stand here and focus the energy bursts outward, he instructed. We can turn their own attacks against them. They hesitated for only a moment before obeying, their discipline flawless. Alex initiated the energy flow, carefully adjusting the conduits to channel the bursts precisely. The rogue faction's ships were caught in the redirected energy, forced to retreat and regroup. Lyria stepped forward, her expression a mix of surprise and respect. "You are using our technology in ways we did not expect. Your creativity, it is remarkable." Alex's pulse was racing, but he did not pause. The rogue faction was not defeated. They were regrouping and preparing for a final strike. He realized that a decisive action was needed, one that combined the knowledge he had gained from his tests with the courage he had relied on throughout his journey. "Lyria, I need your warriors to create a distraction on the upper levels while I access the core directly," he said. "I can initiate a pulse that will disable their weapons temporarily." She considered him for a long moment, then nodded. "Do it, human. Show us what courage looks like." Alex moved swiftly to the core, dodging energy bursts and debris from the ongoing skirmish. His hands worked quickly over the control panels, integrating his human intuition with the alien systems. He remembered every lesson from the tests, the importance of observation, pattern recognition, and adaptation. With a deep breath, he initiated the pulse. The effect was immediate. The rogue faction's weapons fizzled, their ships faltering in midair. Lyria's warriors seized the moment, moving with precision to push the invaders back. Alex continued to adjust the pulse, carefully directing energy to disable additional threats while protecting the city's delicate infrastructure. After what felt like hours but was only minutes, the rogue faction finally retreated, their forces scattered and disorganized. The city was safe, its energy core intact, thanks to Alex's quick thinking and bravery. Lyria approached him, her usual composure softened by genuine admiration. "You have done what few of my people could have imagined," she said. "You have saved this city, not with brute force, but with courage, insight, and creativity. You are extraordinary human." Alex felt a surge of pride but also relief. "I just did what I thought was right," he said simply. "Exactly," Lyria replied. "And that is what makes you human. You think differently. You act when others hesitate. You see possibilities that others overlook. Today, you have proven that humanity has value far beyond what we ever expected." The city began to hum with renewed energy, the conduits glowing brighter as the system stabilized. Citizens emerged cautiously, observing the aftermath. They were a mixture of curiosity and awe, seeing the human who had stood alongside their warriors and protected their home. Later, Lyria led Alex to a quiet balcony overlooking the city. The twin moons were rising, casting silver light over the crystalline towers. Alex felt a moment of calm, the tension of the day finally easing. "You have done more than survive," Lyria said softly. "You have earned respect, not just from me, but from all who witnessed your actions. Your courage and ingenuity are rare, even among the most advanced civilizations." Alex smiled, looking out at the city. "I didn't do it alone. Your guidance, your tests, they prepared me, and your trust gave me the chance to act." Lyria nodded, her eyes reflecting both pride and curiosity. "Perhaps humans are not as limited as we believed. Perhaps your species has a role to play in the greater galaxy. Today, you have shown us what that might be." They stood in silence for a while, the night sky above filled with stars and distant energy glows. Alex felt a deep connection to this place, to its people, and to the formidable woman beside him. He had come as an outsider, untested and unsure, and now he had proven that humans could stand as equals, not through brute force or advanced technology alone, but through courage, creativity, and the indomitable spirit of humanity. Finally, Lyria spoke again. "You will remain here for some time, human. There is much for you to learn and much for us to understand about you. Your presence has changed the way we see humanity. We will not forget this day." Alex nodded. "I look forward to learning more and to helping however I can." As he looked over the glowing city, he realized that this was more than just survival or success. It was the beginning of a new chapter, one where humans could be respected, valued, and even admired in a galaxy filled with wonders and dangers. And it had all begun with a simple smile, a moment of courage, and the choice to see opportunity where others saw limits. Lyria stood beside him, silent but not unkind, her presence a reminder that human ingenuity and spirit could shine even in the most alien of worlds. The night was calm now, the threat of the rogue faction gone, but the future was full of possibilities. Alex knew that he had changed this world, and perhaps even humanity's place in the stars, simply by being brave enough to act, clever enough to think differently, and bold enough to trust in himself. The twin moons reflected in Alex's eyes, and he felt a quiet pride, a growing confidence, and a profound understanding that being human, flawed, courageous, inventive, and daring, was enough to face any challenge, even in the most alien of worlds. And somewhere deep in the crystalline city, the energy hummed softly, acknowledging the presence of a human who had dared to act, dared to care, and dared to prove that humanity's spirit was something no technology, no alien power, and no challenge could ever suppress.